Okay, we're live right now. I'm not sure. I mean, it looks like the volume is working right now. Let's look at it live right now. Yes, he did. Let us speak. So, it's a change. You can tell if it's working. Yeah, it is. It is. See the line right here? When I'm talking, it's going up. Oh, yeah, there it is. Great.
Hi.
Oh, shalom, sis.
Hi.
Get started. Live right now, from what I understand. Shalom, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakatah for the brothers, Yahweh Shema Elathah Hashem Yahushua for the sisters. This is the Friday High Desert class. Today is the scripture breakdown and what we're going to do. The topic, I'm Priest Officer Shadow Rock, and the topic tonight is going to be, who is Esau in the Bible? Now, it's important that we understand who are the tribes in the Bible. The main tribes, which is Israel, and then, the heathen tribes like Esau. Esau is a heathen tribe, okay? God chose Israel. God chose Israel, and he chose Jacob and his forefathers in the beginning and had a covenant with them, which is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go into Esau, the birth, and where it all really started, okay? So the one I want to get is going to be okay, so I want to make sure that we get the right topic on here, the right scriptures. We're going to go to Genesis 25, chapter 25, and we're going to start at verse 19. Genesis 25 and verse 19. You don't hear the volume? Is that bar going on there?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I see the bar, but I'm not hearing nothing online.
Okay, so maybe the volume on there, that straight bar, is that bar up?
Say something?
Testing. Is the lines going?
Yeah, I see the lines going across, but I don't hear nothing online.
That's strange. So while I'm talking, you can hear the bars are going up and down.
I can see them.
Wow. Let me take a look.
see anything now?
No.
Balls are going.
Zion.
Flash hit on 100%. I actually don't see anything that's stopping it.
Get down here. Because that's going to start. Who was up there? Huh?
Nobody?
Is the other brother up there?
No, there's
So
nobody.
why you in his room and he not here? No, come on.
I don't know. It all looks good from here. It's just not making a sound in there.
Say, excuse me. No, she can't sit over here, but she has to stay over here. She don't want to go nowhere. Ask him if you can have a pen and paper so you can take some notes today. And raise your hand and ask some questions.
Oh.
So
It's
hopefully by,
I thought it says, he says.
hopefully by next weekend,
Oh,
I have to invite him.
Okay. Okay, good. All right. Got past technical difficulties. Once again, this is Shalom Yahweh Bashem Yahushua Barakathon for the brothers, Yahweh Shema Ulathah Bahashem Yahushua for the sisters. I'm Priest Officer Shadarak, and this is the Friday scripture breakdown class in the High Desert. It's the Friday High Desert scripture breakdown. We're going to go into who is Esau in the Bible. My first scripture is going to be Genesis 25 and verse 19. Okay. Genesis chapter 25 and verse 19.
The book of Genesis, chapter 25 and verse 19. And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begat Isaac. Verse 20. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padanaram, the sister of Laban, the Syrian. Verse 21. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife, because she was barren. And the Lord was entreated of him. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived. Verse 22. And the children struggled together within her.
Now notice it says the children struggled together within her. She had two children inside of her womb. This is Rebekah. Read.
And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus?
So she was asking, why is she this way? Why is her pregnancy this type of condition? Because she felt the children actually struggling within her womb. When they were struggling in her womb, they were actually fighting in her womb. They were fighting each other in her womb. Continue.
Verse 23. And the Lord said unto her, two nations are in thy womb.
Now, this is two nations in Rebekah's womb. These are going to be two manner of people, two nations. One nation is not like another nation. You know, we as so-called blacks and Hispanics and Native Indians, we're one nation. But to whites, we're not the same nation. To Syrian people or Arab people, we're not Arabs. We're not even Africans. Okay. This is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, and we break these scriptures down for a reason so that you know what's in this Bible, because the things written here are written sometimes metaphorically, but this is written literally. The two children struggled within Rebekah's womb. Read.
Two nations are in thy womb. And two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
Two manner of what?
Two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
Two manner of people will be separated from your bowels. So when she gives birth, it's going to be two nations. Okay, read.
And the one people shall be stronger than the other people.
One nation will be stronger than the other nation. Okay, so this is the beginning of Esau. Read.
And the other people, Slakia, and the elder shall serve the younger.
The elder will serve the younger. So the elder is going to be serving the younger. The younger is going to be probably most likely stronger. Okay, so continue.
Verse 24. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb.
They were what?
Twins in her womb.
Twins in her womb when her days were fulfilled. So there was two babies. Continue.
And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau.
They called his name what?
Esau.
And the first came out of the garment came out red all over. The first one was the older one. He was red all over. He came out of her bowels first. Continue. And his name was Esau. Okay.
And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel.
And his hand took hold of Esau's heel. He still wanted to continue fighting. They were fighting in that womb. He was holding on to his older brother's heel, but they were struggling in there. Okay, two manner of people, two different people. And see, this is the beginning of two nations. Okay, let's go up to verse where we're at 20. Let's go to 27.
Verse 27. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter.
Esau was a cunning hunter. When he got older, he was a hunter, a cunning hunter, which means he was very good at hunting. Now, who in the world right now you see that loves to go hunting beside the boys from the South? Hunting for sport. That's the white man. That's basically a white man. That's his sport. That's what he likes to do. He goes all out in hunting gear and everything. Continue.
A man of the field.
He was a man of the field. He loved to hunt in the field. Continue.
And Jacob was a plain man.
Jacob was a plain man. Continue.
Dwelling in tents.
Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. Okay. Jacob was not even described here. They described Jacob when he got older. They didn't describe Jacob early. So Jacob looked like everybody else. And Jacob was a black man who dwelled in tents. And that's just what we do. When you call a brother on the phone, a lot of times it'd be like, man, where you at? Hey, I'm at the crib. I'm chilling, watching TV. I'm at the crib, which is the house. We call the crib the house, of course. A plain man dwelling in tents. That's what he did. All right. Continue.
And Isaac loved Esau, but he did eat his venison.
Venison is deer meat, or meat from like a lamb or deer. Usually it's considered deer meat, because Esau will go in the field and eat deer and hunt deer and then bring it home to his father. That's why his father loved him, bringing that good meat home. All right. So this is the birth of Esau. This is how he gets started. All right. So now we're going to see what Esau actually did. Let's continue.
But Rebekah loved Jacob. Verse 29. And Jacob sod pottage.
So Jacob sod pottage. Jacob made stew. He was making like a stew. Okay, that's pottage. Go ahead.
And Esau came from the field, and he was faint.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 30. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. Okay,
so that's how he got his name, Edom, from that red pottage. It was red pottage that Jacob was making. Esau was already red all over, as it was described at his birth. Okay, and that was in verse what, 25. So that's what he was. He came back from the field. He was faint. He was tired. He was, feeling like he damn near was gonna die. But he asked his brother to feed him, give him some red pottage. Continue.
Verse 31. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. Verse 32. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die, and I would profit, Slakia. And what profit shall this birthright do to me?
So he felt like he had the point to die. Esau's at the point to die. Jacob said, sell me the birthright. Okay. This is the birthright from the Most High. This is an inheritance that is accustomed in Israel for the father to give to the son to pass it through the generations from the Lord. Okay. This is the Lord's birthright. It's not just something that's not something that's to be taken lightly. This is very heavy right here. This is a very heavy very heavy possession for him to have a birthright, handed down from family to family, generation to generation from the Lord. You would think that you have to put some value into that, realize that is valuable. But at this point, Esau said, what profit shall this birthright do to me? Continue verse 33.
Verse 33. And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he swore unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob.
He did what?
Sold his birthright unto Jacob.
Maybe I'm not hearing it right. What did he do?
Sold his birthright unto Jacob.
He sold his birthright, the Lord's birthright. You sold it to your brother, which was supposed to be for you to take control, take charge of, and take care of it. All right. And use it for what it's intended for. But he sold it to his brother for the red pottage. Okay. Didn't mean nothing to him. In other words, this birthright didn't mean nothing to Esau. Okay. Continue.
Verse 34. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils. And he did eat and drink and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Esau did what? Despised his birthright.
Esau despised his birthright. So he had a heavy hatred. He hated that birthright. He didn't want that birthright. This is Esau's character from way when he was younger. His spirit was not right with the Lord ever since. Okay. Now we're gonna go. Let's go to Obadiah. Let's go to the book of Obadiah. And we'll start in Obadiah 1:1.
The book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 1. The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle.
So they want to rise up against Esau. Rise up against Esau in battle. Continue.
Verse 2. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised.
So since Esau despised that birthright, the Lord greatly despises Esau. Now, these are the children of Esau. Okay. So when you speak certain names in the Bible, it's not always that person, it's their children, them and their children. Like Jacob is the father of the 12 tribes of Israel. So when the Lord refers to Jacob, he's referring to all the 12 tribes, which are blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians this day. Okay, when he first Esau, he's referring to Esau and his children, which is the white nation, so the so-called white nation. Continue.
Verse 3. The pride of thine heart has deceived thee.
The pride of your heart deceived you. You know, when they stormed Capitol Hill, they were prideful. So prideful, they got dressed up. One guy got dressed up and had a what? He looked like a Roman god or something. Something with a fur all on his head or so, whatever he had. He was proud. He wasn't so proud when they took him into custody, though. But he was proud along with the rest of them storming Capitol Hill, which was your Proud Boys, which was your ex-military or your military and your police officers. Okay? Off-duty police officers stormed Capitol Hill. Military personnel stormed Capitol Hill. Proud Boys included stormed Capitol Hill. These are Esau's children. Read.
Thou that dwelleth in the clefts of the rock.
Thou that dwelleth in the clefts of the rock. What is a cleft? Cleft is a cave. Thou that dwelleth in the caves of the rocks. Where did the Caucasian race originate? In the Caucasus Mountains, the clefts of the rock. Continue.
Whose habitation is high.
Whose habitation is high. They love heights. Just like the skyscrapers that they build, that they had the Native Indians build. Okay. They like to live high up in their office space. 50th floor, 30th floor. You had the Twin Towers. You had the what is it? The Sears building. It's one of those big buildings that they have anyways. Skyscrapers, large buildings. Read.
That saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Verse 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle.
Now, he said, who will bring me down? They're so prideful, they don't think that nobody is going to bring them down. But the Lord is going to bring them down. You understand? They dwell in the clefts of the rocks. They love to dwell in those places. Okay? Continue.
And though thou set thy nest amongst the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord.
You set your nest among the stars. They got the SpaceX company. They were the first to walk the moon. They're trying to get Mars to be like Earth. They're trying to live up in Mars somewhere. Okay, they set their nests in the heavens, trying to live where the Most High God, Yahweh, lives. You think the Lord ain't gonna stand that? He didn't stand the Tower of Babylon. He had the Tower of Babylon, incomplete. When man was building, and they would speak out all one language, Babylon fell. America is modern day Babylon. America is going to fall, okay? And it's not going to be from separating the language. It's going to be different. It's going to be thermonuclear destruction because of Esau. Esau is the one that despised his birthright. He couldn't stand it. He turned around and sold it, okay? And then Jacob got the blessings. The father of our nation got the blessings, okay? He sets his nest in the stars and Star Wars. What they got a Space Force now too. It's not no longer the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. It's the Space Force. Okay, and they're trying to start that up. See, so the Bible is showing the future of their nation, that nation right there. The Esau is called Edom, which is the Edomites, because when you see ITES behind something like Israelites, Ishmaelites, ites means sons of. So Esau is an Edomite, okay? And this Edomite is basically the father of the white race, okay? So much so, they even have books about it now. This is one called The Roman Empire, the Empire of the Edomite, okay? And that's by William Beston. Okay, it's to give you an idea of who we're talking about here. Who are these tribes in the Bible? You need to know this, because then you'll be able to understand their role and their future and how the Lord sees them. Okay, continue.
Verse 5. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, How art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? Verse 6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are the hidden things sought up? Verse 7. All the men of the confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Verse 8. Shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau?
The Lord wants to destroy the wise men out of Edom. He wants to destroy them because he wants to destroy the entire Edom nation, you know, for their deeds and the things that they've done. Okay. Continue.
And thy mighty men, O Teman.
Teman. When you look up the term Teman in the dictionary, you look it up, you'll find that Teman is a word for German people. That's a German heritage, Teman, T-E-M-A-N. See, and that further shows you who that nation is. There's your Germans right there. Okay, continue.
And thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter.
By what?
By slaughter.
By slaughter. Okay, the Lord wants them cut off by slaughter. He don't just want them cut off. He want them cut off by slaughter. And the reason behind that is their deeds. And there's no real good record of any deeds that they've done that's in the Bible. Okay. Continue.
For thy violence against thy brother Jacob.
For what?
Thy violence against thy brother Jacob.
For thy violence against thy brother Jacob. They were fighting in the womb already. They were already fighting in the womb. Ancient enemy, an ancient enemy. Continue.
Shame shall cover thee.
Shame shall cover thee. Now, the wise men that are cut off is the men like the Germans with their real good technology, building motors and engineering and all that. Their men are going to be destroyed because the Lord doesn't want that nation ever to rise and rule anything in the earth anymore. Okay, continue.
And thou shalt be cut off forever. Verse 11. In the day that stoodeth on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou wast as one of them.
So even you were one of them. You were one of them that actually cast lots with the other nations when Jerusalem fell, when we fell as a nation, when we were being destroyed, when we were being under siege. They started casting lots in Jerusalem. Who's going to get what? Casting lots is like shooting dice. Really, that's what it is. And you go, whoever wins gets this part of Israel. Whoever wins get this part of Jerusalem. Whoever wins get this part of them. So they were casting lots to see who was going to get what. And Esau was with them. He wasn't on our side. He was with the other heathens. Salaki, casting lots out of our possessions and the things that we had in the holy city. Okay. Okay, so in this society, we look at these things and we see exactly in these scriptures, we see exactly how we're treated. Like here in America, they're starting a trial of the brother that got George Floyd, right? They're starting a trial for the police officer who actually came there who actually killed George Floyd. So now they're going to go through this long about trial to figure out who this is. Okay. And this is what that was last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Last year, that's then the trial starts this year.
No.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna tell you what happened with Esau when he didn't get his blessings. He basically went off and married heathen women. He had like 3 heathen women, heathen wives, put it that way. So Esau is basically, let me continue where he started, where he left off. Esau is basically a tyrant, man. He's a basic tyrant, doing the things that he want to do, and going against the Lord, and going against his brother, and going against Israel, because it's in his nature to do that. It is in that cop's nature to put his foot on George Floyd's neck. It was in the other cop's nature to shoot Philando Castile 4 times and kill him in front of his wife and children. It's in his nature to hang you from a tree. He despised the birthright of the Lord. Therefore, he despises the Lord's chosen people, who are blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. The Lord's chosen people are strong people. You understand? Okay, so let's see. It says, for thy violence against thy Jacob. See, so even thou was one of them. Verse 12. This is the book of Obadiah, verse 12. But thou should not have looked on the day of thy brother, in the day he became a stranger. We became a stranger when we walked away from the law, statutes, and commandments. That's the reasons why. That's the reason why Jerusalem got destroyed in the first place, because we, God's chosen people, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, walked away from the holy mountain. We stopped doing, in other words, we stopped doing the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. We didn't keep Passover, which is coming up, which I'm going to keep, and our school, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, from all over this nation and outside this nation, we're going to keep Passover. You understand? But our forefathers didn't. That's why we're in the situation that we're in. And Esau is taking advantage of that, killing our brothers on the street. You got Sandra Bland got killed in the thing in the jail. She didn't even, they took a picture of her and it looked like she was still, they tried to make it look like she was still alive, but she was dead when they took that picture. That's God. That was super wicked. Damn right, sis. So you see the motives here, okay? He became a stranger. We became a stranger. Then it says, neither should thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Okay. Neither should thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. See, that's the pride of Esau. It's very prideful, man. Super prideful. But these things, he knows every damn thing. The Lord said you shouldn't have spoken proudly when Judah was destroyed. Okay. The children of Judah were destroyed. See, Judah is the so-called Negro. Okay. That's the southern tribe of Israel, because Israel used to be broken into two kingdoms, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. The southern kingdom consisted of Negroes, so-called Haitian people, and so-called West Indian people. These 3 brothers these 3 tribes make up the southern tribe of Israel. So that's Judah, Levi, and Benjamin. Okay. Oh, in Hebrew it would be, like I said, Judah would be Yahwadah. Haiti would be Loya. Benjamin would be Benyamin. Okay. Those are the 3 tribes from the southern states. From the southern kingdom. The northern kingdom is your so-called Hispanics, like Puerto Rico, like Mexico, like Guatemala, like Brazil, like Panama, like Chile, like what is that? It's in my mind. Did I say Cuba? Cuba. And all the other so-called Latinos. And then you also, in the northern tribes of Israel, you have the native Indians, all of them, all of the native Indians, from Geronimo to Sitting Bull. You understand? I'm just saying that, and figuratively speaking that. But yeah, that's the tribe of Gad, God in Hebrew, the tribe of God in Hebrew. Yeah, so anyway,
it can be twisting and turning right there by the equipment.
Okay, so this is what Obadiah should not have done. Okay, thou should not have entered in the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Thou should have not looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance. See, every nation has wealth, money. Where's ours? Where's ours?
Buried.
Our treasure is in the hands of our oppressor, the so-called white man. He has our money. He does what he wants to do with it. Okay, now, every nation has substance in the day of their calamity. They laid hands on our money. In other words, they took our money in the day of our calamity. Same thing they did during and after the transatlantic slave trade. There is still cotton in England. There's still cotton in France that our forefathers picked. A lot of people don't know that. It's still there. We pick so much damn cotton. That's a lot of cotton. You understand? Because we are a strong nation. And they knew who to bring over here. They called us like gold. We were like gold to them. More precious than gold. Because we get to bring the gold in and bring it to them. We get to get cotton and bring it to them. They sell it and make more money. They sell us and then they sell what we produced. Okay. So this is what they did. This verse 14 in the book of Obadiah, verse 14, neither should've thou have stood in the crossways. Watch this. Stood in the crossways to cut off those of his that did escape. So some of us escaped the affliction. Some of the children of Israel escaped that affliction and that siege. But Esau stood in the middle to make sure that we get caught again. He made sure that we got caught again, okay, and that we were cut off. Neither should you have delivered up of his that did remain in the day of distress. You understand? In that day of distress, he stood and he made sure that we got caught all over again and went through more hell. He wasn't satisfied. He wanted all of us to be. He wanted us to suffer. He wants us to die. It's up to him. We wouldn't be around. But the Lord's not going to have that. The Lord is not going to have that. Let's see. Let's go to verse 15. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. All of the heathen. Not just the Edomites, the Hittites, the Hivites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Hivites. You understand? These are white nations. These are African nations. The Perizzites, the Ammonites. Ammon, that's Japanese. Okay. Moab, that's China. All the heathen. The day of the Lord is near upon all of the heathen. It's going to be time that they get their just deserts for laying a hand on the children of Israel. Because every time they see us, they see money. Only thing they want to deal with you at, and the main thing they want to deal with you is getting your money, getting your substance, your money, taking your possessions over. They took their sister's Sophia Stewart, who made the Terminator, who wrote the Terminator, and who wrote the Matrix. They took her idea and made those movies and got billions of dollars. It took her 30 years to make a lawsuit to get her money back. She was unemployed when she wrote it. A black woman. That's where that comes from. She wanted to make the Matrix in there a black superhero. That's what she wanted in the Matrix, because that was what Lawrence Fishburne. She wanted a black superhero. That was her idea in there. When you look at, because we interviewed her. The Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge interviewed Sophia Stewart, and she said that she wanted to make a black superhero when she made the Terminator. I mean the Matrix. Or maybe even the Terminator. I don't know which one. I'm not sure. But you can look through some of our files and see what she actually had said about that. Sister was very brilliant, smart sister. And so this is what Esau has done. Okay. Now, let's go. I'm gonna go to for the day of the Lord is near upon the heathens. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. See, that's the part that a lot of people, they get it twisted. They say, well, when we're in camp, they always say, I never owned a slave. I never did this to you. I don't have no slaves. Your forefathers had slaves. It's a known fact. If your forefathers had slaves, you're the sons of. That's why it's Edomites. When I said ites, it's sons of. So either it's a blessing or a curse. Understand? It's a curse because you did evil and wicked. Your father did that. Your sons got to pay for what your father did. Simple. We're going to reap the benefits of the blessings that our forefathers got. The covenant, which means agreement that the Lord made with Abraham when he said, I will make your children. I'll make you father of many, many people. Okay. So that being said, I'm going to continue. It shall be as thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thy own head. Your reward is going to return on your own head. You live by this. You put this up against my people, it's coming to you. Thus saith the Lord. Not me, not Shadrach, but the Lord said that. I'm going to read it again. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. Okay. So this is what's going to happen. So this is what's going to happen to Esau and his children. Okay. Now let's go to the book of Lamentations, verse 4 and 18. The book of Lamentations, chapter 4 and verse 18. Let me get. Let's see. Oh, Lamentations 4 and 18. Bear with me. I said 18, right? 4 and 18. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna go to 17 first. I'm gonna start at 17. This is Lamentations chapter 4, verse 17. As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. We're looking for help as a nation. Blacks need a leader, a real leader. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians need a real leader, not the Christian church. Christian church has failed us. So Christian church has been around so long and we still getting shot in the street. We still don't have enough money. We still number one on the prison system. We still number one in abortions. We still number one damn near in addiction. Okay. We're number one in diabetes, high blood pressure, strokes, all these things, you know. We don't have no help to help us with that. Our leaders don't help us. As for us, our eyes have failed for vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. That nation can't save us. Okay. Verse 18 in particular, they hunt our steps. Who is Esau? A mighty hunter. He hunts for sport. They hunt for lions. They hunt for what do you call those? Moose, antelope, anything that they can hunt, they'll hunt and get. You understand? Esau loves hunting. He gives out trophies. He got a whole system. He pays himself for winning his own hunting contests. Okay. They hunt our steps. So naturally, they hunt us as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We cannot go in our streets. George Floyd couldn't go in the streets. Philando Castile couldn't even ride in the streets. His wife couldn't even say goodbye, baby. I see that you're dying right next to me because you got shot by this Edomite. She couldn't even say that. She videotaped the whole thing. Thank goodness she got it on videotape. She couldn't even say goodbye to him. Eric Garner, all right, the one that sold cigarettes, all right, that got choked, said I can't breathe, for selling Lucy's cigarettes. We used to call them Lucy's in New York. Damn, the stores sell Lucy's. You can't afford to buy a pack. They say individual loose cigarettes. You know, he wasn't selling dope, but he got choked to death on the streets. You understand? You Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian in America, you got to be careful on these streets. They will try to kill you. You understand? They will try to kill you. And it don't matter what you say. It don't matter what you say. I can't breathe. It's just a signal for me to let you go. Damn, you can't. Oh, hold on. You can't breathe. Let him go. Shit. Yeah, you know. But they continued until his life was taken from him. He died from asphyxiation, which means he choked to death. He got choked to death. Let me make that clear. They hunt our steps, verse 18, that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near. Our days are fulfilled, for our end is come. See? So that's the thing. Esau will hunt you in the street and murder you. That's what he'll do. If he's given that opportunity and it's all right and all well and good, you can rest assured he's going to murder you. Yeah, that's what he'll do. That's his tendencies. Okay. Now, in this book, it's called it says the Roman Empire, the Empire of the Edomite. In this book, it says on page 4, it says the descendants of Esau say the Jewish rabbins, the sworn enemies of the descendants of Jacob. See how it is descendants? And it speaks of descendants. These are the children. These are the children, and thus the children of Jacob, the descendants of Esau are the sworn enemies of the descendants of Jacob. We know they are our enemy. We gotta stop. We have to stop, looking in this melting pot theory that America has you sleep and lulled to sleep in believing that all nations can live together and everything is cool and good. Because first of all, the Bible speaks of holy things. Just like that birthright, if you had that birthright, you're supposed to keep that birthright separate from your common things. You got to separate it. Okay. Now, the Lord said we're a holy people. We're a holy people, which means we are a separate people. We are a holy people. I'm going to just go real quick to Deuteronomy 7 and verse 6. Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. Okay. And it reads, okay, 7, verse 6. For thou art a holy people. That means separate. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee. We were chosen by the Most High God, the creator of heaven and earth, man. The most fierce and powerful, terrible ruler in the universe. The only one that's there. Because it's only one Lord, one God. Only one. All right. Chosen by the Lord, chosen thee. Let me start at the top. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people. We're special to the Lord. In the eyes of the Lord, he chose us. We are a special people. Why you think we got Beyonce? Why you think we got Michael Jordan? Why you think we got Vivica Fox? Why you think we got Mike Tyson? Why you think we got Muhammad Ali? Why you think we had my favorite from the New York Giants? What was his name? The one that caught the football, Cruz. And also, why you think we got the brother? Dang. Why you think we got Dr. J? Why you think we got Sidney Poitier, Denzel Washington? Why you think we got them? They're not in the truth, but I tell you what, they are special to the Lord because they're Israelites. They're sons of Jacob. Jacob's name was turned to Israel, Israelites. They're from Yashra'Allah in the Hebrew. Yashra'Allah is Israel. That's how you pronounce it in the Hebrew. All right. Yashar means prince of the power. Princes of the power. We're the princes and sons of God. We really are. You understand? That's why everybody want to be like you. So just because we're at the bottom right now, that don't mean nothing. You have to come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments. Once our whole nation does that, then the Lord will hear us in heaven and come down here and kill all of our enemies. All of them. That's why he's sending Christ in the first place. He's sending Christ because he wants to make sure that his people, that his end of the bargain that he made with our father, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is fulfilled, is kept. He's going to keep the end of the deal, the contract, the covenant. And we are a special people in them. It says, for thou art a holy people, which means separate, unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself. Get that. A lot of y'all that's just now coming to class or whatever don't know this, but we're bringing it out. We bring this out all the time. We bring it out in camp. When we go to camp and go to war, we bring it out in camp and we bring it out in our classes as well. And it's also going to be brought out in Passover. Above all people. I didn't say in the middle. I didn't say next to. I said above. And I didn't say it. The Lord said it. I'm reading scripture. Above all people. Okay. That are upon the face of the earth. all people that are on the face of the earth. Okay, the Lord did not set his love upon you or choose you because you were more in numbers, for ye were the fewest of all people. But because the Lord loved you, he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers. And that's what I just said. He's going to keep that oath with us. He's going to keep it. You understand? Because it's so important that we come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments, cut them dreadlocks out of our hair, stop smoking that weed, stop eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobsters, and pepperoni pizzas. All right? Stop being a whore. Stop being a sellout, selling us out to other nations. Stop keeping Easter, keeping Christmas, and celebrating yourself, which when you celebrate your birthday, you're celebrating yourself. See, there's certain things we have to do as Israelites. The Lord wants us to celebrate all the holy days. And in the ISUPK, our upcoming holy day is going to be in Houston, Texas on April 24th. All right, that's the Lord's Passover. We're keeping the Passover on April 24th in Houston, Texas. And understand, that's what the Lord wants you to do. If all our nation would do the same and keep his laws, statutes, and commandments, we'll be out of this problem that we have right now as a people. We won't be thinking that we're cursed anymore. Okay. Now it says, Esau, the sworn enemies. I'm on page 4 of the Roman Empire. See, it wasn't just the Germans. It was the Romans too. The Edomites. Rome. Okay. The sworn enemies of the descendants of Israel, even to the end of the world. Sworn enemies, even to the end of the world, were at first a small nation inhabiting Mount Seir, because that's where Esau went when he left Jacob and left his family. He started his families in Mount Seir and the adjacent country contiguous of the land of Canaan. They were easily confined within their own limits, so long as the Israelites enjoyed a great and formidable empire in Canaan. But after the powerful republic of the 12 tribes had been destroyed by the Assyrians, because we went into Assyrian captivity, and Babylonians, we went into Babylonian captivity. They were wonderfully increased in numbers and in strength, and extended dominion in the east, subjugated Italy, founded Rome, okay, and the Roman Empire, and the length entirely overturned the Jewish state, and the second temple being destroyed by Titus Vespasian, and professing religion of Jesus Christ, which they were first of all nations to embrace. They hold Jacob in captivity till Messiah shall appear. So till Christ come back. So in other words, they hold us in captivity. We've been in captivity. This transatlantic slave trade. We've been in captivity even in Egypt when we were building treasure cities for the Pharaoh in Egypt. We were slaves throughout history. Why? Because we walked away from the law, statutes, and commandments of God. That's why. Only one time we had our kingdom, and that was during Solomon's time, or David's time, right? Okay, so even in this book, it's telling you what happened, Titus and Vespasian. Okay, and even during this time, the second temple being destroyed, did you know that's when the slave trade increased? It's on page 84 in a book called From Babylon to Timbuktu, when Jerusalem was destroyed for the last time under Titus in 70 AD. And then they took over, and the slave trades were increased. The author Rudolph Windsor wrote that part in that book to show you where slavery really was kicking off. That was after the Second Temple in Jerusalem, because the Jews were black people, our people. And it increased particularly in West Africa. And if you know about the history, that's where the slave trade started, in West Africa. Not Egypt, but West Africa. We were just, when they call us African American, we can't be African American for two main points. Is that Leo Africanus is a white man. Amerigo Vespucci is a white man. So how can I call myself African American? You called me that. That's not me. I'm not the son of two white people. Obviously. Okay. Now, the Lord said we were a special people. I'm going to go back to Lamentations. Like I said, they hunt our steps. Our end is near. And understand, this is where all of this stuff originated. And see, even in this book, you can see the menorah. I got a menorah right here in front of me. But you can see the menorah in this book when they took it out of our temple. This represents the 7 churches. Understand? This represents the 7 churches that Christ addressed, that Paul actually addressed, that he taught. Okay? But of course, Christ started it. Now, and then you see the scrolls right there too. Okay, you got the scrolls and the menorah. All right. So the Roman Empire, the empire of the Edomite. Edom is Rome. Is Roman. Edom is Germany. Edom is your so-called Jew. Well, he's actually a Jew, is an Amalekite. Still a white man. He's Amalek for a reason. Another evil reason as well. Because he's the one he's going around on the earth masquerading himself as a Jew, calling himself a Jew. You understand? He's running around. So these are his brothers, the Romans, the Germans, the Swedes, the Scandinavians, the French, all the nations up in Europe. All those nations are Edomites. Bottom line. All right. We'll go to I'm not gonna go to Revelation right now. Let me go to Isaiah 14 and verse 21. The book of Isaiah 14 and verse 21. See, our people were destroyed. Our people were burnt, hung, mutilated, castrated, which means they cut off their private parts, hung, beaten and everything. But this was done by our arch enemy. Oh, okay, go ahead. Who is actually going on today? Salaki, give me 1 second.
You need to sit up. No, you're not. So I'm sit up. Because there ain't nothing back there. You're looking forward. You're not laying down. It's not time to lay down. Sit up. That's what I like this. So I'm laying down.
Okay, so these are the people who slaughtered us in Europe. So I said Isaiah 14 and 21, right? So here's Isaiah 14, verse 21. Prepare slaughter for his children. Notice it says his children again. So just because you're saying you didn't have no slaves, that don't hold no water with the Most High God. That don't hold no water with the ISUPK, because we tell you that you're going to go in chains. This says, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity which is the sin of their fathers, for the sin of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fulfill the face of the world with cities. Verse 22, for I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son, nephew, saith the Lord. See, that's what the Lord is saying is what's going to happen to Esau. This is what's going to happen to them because they have done for many generations, many centuries, evil, murder, lies, thievery against our people. All right. So it says prepare slaughter. All right. Let me go to Ezekiel 35:5. Ezekiel 35:5. Oh, wait. Okay. And it reads, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred. It says perpetual. So what does the word perpetual mean? The word perpetual means continuous. Like every day. There's 365 days of the year, 24/7. That's his hatred towards us. Every day. Like we say, every day. You know, all the time, man. He's always looking for a way to cheat us out of something, to deny us something. You understand? To reign and rule over us when our king is Christ. The king of the Israelites, of the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, Christ, who will return and get his kingdom. He's going to come back and get his kingdom, which is us. As a matter of fact, this whole world. So, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword. Understand? By the force of the sword. That's what he did. He shed our blood. He has a hatred for us. And it's not a sword today. Modern day sword is bullets. Guns. That's a sword. That'll cut you up. That'll destroy you, smash you up until you have no life. Okay? So he destroyed us by the edge of the sword. Okay? Because see, let me go up just a little bit above it. Let me go to verse 3. This is Ezekiel 35 and verse 3. And say unto this day, wait, let me go to 2. Salaki. Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir. That's where Esau went. He went to Mount Seir. I don't know if we read that in the beginning where Esau got older and he took those wives. He went straight to Mount Seir. There he started his that's where he started his kingdom at, Mount Seir. Son of man, set your face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it and say unto it, thus saith the Lord God, behold, O Mount Seir. See that? Esau was always an enemy in the Bible. All right. Of the Lord, our enemy. Thus saith the Lord God, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out mine hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. He's going to destroy you, in other words. Yeah. It is not fair for us to be in this condition. It never was meant for us to be in this condition. You understand? I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord. And verse 5 reads what I just read. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred against and have shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time of their iniquity, that their iniquity had an end. See, our sin had an end. But he shed that, he shed that blood, right? Mm-hmm. Therefore, as I live, thus saith the Lord, I will prepare thee unto blood. I'm in verse 6. I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee, since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. He don't hate blood. Look at his movies and stuff, man. You know, the one of those rock bands, them rock groups actually bit a bat's head off. Bit his head off. That was who was that? It was one of those groups like Kiss, like Twisted Sister, you know, those are Edomites. Salaki.
No, he didn't ever come back. He's still wherever he went. And that means excuse me. Or it either means excuse me or I'll be right back. Whatever. When you come back, you can raise your hand. That's what you can ask him. We did a lot. I'll tell you. But you have to sit up and sit forward. Don't touch nothing up there. Scoot your chair back, Zion. Because you know what you're doing. That's why you keep looking back. So turn forward and sit up. Because when you play that game, you're sitting up. Duh.
All right, Salaki. So where are we at? So it said, blood will pursue thee, since thou hast not hated blood. And you know, like I was saying, you know, those groups, they like blood. You know, some of their ceremonies is even they drink blood, just like the Africans. Okay, and things like that. You know, but see, they have not hated blood. They used to hang us and take pictures of themselves. The kids used to be out there like 6, 7 years old looking at a black man getting hung, smiling. Hey, he hanging right there. You understand? Or he's burnt to death. You understand? Or he's shot. They said they found so many bullets in this so-called Negro in the South. It was like 1,000 bullets in his body. It made his body weigh even more when they cut him down. They used to take him and stretch him across railroad tracks, burn him to death, take oil, put oil all over you, flammables, because that stuff that is easy to light, they light it and roast you just like a peanut. That's why we said in the Bible, that's why it said in the Bible, the perpetual hatred. They have that perpetual hatred, but they just cover it up these days. Now it's just a cover up. You know, in some states, some of it's apparent. That's why we got Karen, right? Them Karens out there trying to be the DMV and turning sisters in for not having registration, and you ain't a cop. You understand? And then, you know, all the other nations as well. But this is particularly talking about Mount Seir, Edom, Edomites. That's their biblical name. That's why the title of this class, Who is Esau in the Bible? So we're reading who Esau actually is. One of the twins in Rebekah's womb that was fighting with Jacob, our forefather, and the Lord's Spirit told him that she was going to have 2 nations. And he hated his birthright. He's a hunter. You know, they like hunting so much. They hunt lions too. They keep them in a steel building, and they let one out so that you can hunt it if you're rich. like they are.
Mhm.
And one time, the lion got loose, but they didn't know they let out 2 lions.
Mhm.
So he shot the first one, and guess who got eaten up by the second one? Esau, the hunter, the son of Esau. Okay. That nature, that was the Lord right there. Let's get the Lord a hand. Yeah. So he said, blood will pursue thee since you have not hated blood. And see, that's the thing.
She doesn't want to.
Salak. Remember, we recording now. Okay. So now let's go to where we at. Let's go to Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 12. Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 12. Get back. All right.
It's not funny. Stop it.
Yeah, she having a ball. So we're looking in the book of Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 12. It says, woe unto him that buildeth a city, Salaki, that buildeth a town with blood, and establish a city by iniquity. Woe unto him that builds a town with blood. How was America built? Blood. Blood of my forefathers, the blood of our forefathers. Understand? And mothers too. Because a lot of sisters died alongside these brothers too. When it was a custom in those days of slavery that if they couldn't find the man who they wanted to the mob wanted to kill, they find his sister, and they rape her and then kill her. You understand? Yeah, they'll rape her and then kill her. One they let go, they raped them in the basement. They killed the 2 brothers. They raped them in the basement, and then turned around and gave them some molasses, some flour, and some other stuff, and told them to get to stepping. Understand? Yeah, we have a very wicked enemy, and his name is Esau, the Edomites. Very wicked enemy, an ancient enemy from way back in the day. That's who Esau is in the Bible. Okay. Woe unto him that buildeth a town with blood, and establish a city by iniquity. Establishing a city by sin. Iniquity is sin. You established that city. You told the native Indians you was going to keep that treaty with them, but you never kept any treaty with the tribe of God or Gad, which is your native Indians. Never kept one treaty. Killed them during the Trail of Tears when they were little like that. If she was crying like that, do you know what Andrew Jackson did and who Andrew Jackson is? Andrew Jackson is the man on a $20 bill. He was one of the presidents. He was known as an Indian fighter. He boasts because he learned our ways of how our forefathers killed. And he started killing our forefathers. If they were little like that, they would take them by their feet and smash their head, their skulls up against the trees. That's what he was known to do. That's why it says he has not hated blood. So blood is going to pursue him. You understand? That's what he did with little kids. And also with little kids like that, they would go to the slave quarters in Florida, and they would take the little babies, even the babies right out the womb. They would take them down to the swamps in Florida and feed them to the alligator, the male bull alligator, as alligator bait. And it's a known fact. And you know why? Also, it's a known fact They have a store down there. A brother did research and went down there to one of their stores, and the man didn't want to sell it to him. But he said, you can have this, but you can't have that. He was telling him what he could have. He said, this is kind of embarrassing, and I hate this to show you this, but I'm going to show it to you. It had an alligator, and it had a little baby at the top. It was a pen. It was a pen. It wasn't a real alligator, but it was an alligator. And the alligator, when you open the pen like that or move it to, usually you click a button, the alligator's mouth will open up and bite the baby. And it was a black baby on top of that pen with black paint on it. To show you that's what they used to do when our sisters were in the slave quarters. She's precious. And that's the thing. We have to understand what history and how it applies to the Bible, if it agrees with the Bible or if it doesn't. If it don't agree with the Bible, then we don't deal with it here in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. We deal with facts and facts only. We deal with the King James Version, the King James Version Bible only. Okay? Now, we read that. Let's go to Psalms 139 and 19. The book of Psalms, chapter 139 and verse 19. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and read. Surely thou wilt slay the wicked, O God. This is David, King David of the tribe of Judah. Understand, the same tribe that Christ came from. Okay. Yahweh in the Hebrew. Surely thou wilt slay the wicked. Depart from me, therefore, ye bloody men. Verse 20. For the wicked speak against thee, and thy enemies that take thy name in vain. Verse 21. Do not I hate them, O Lord, that hate thee? Am I not grieved with those that rise up against thee? Verse 22. I hate them with perfect hatred. Christian church tell you ain't no hate in the Bible, but it's right there, and King David is saying it. And King David was one of the Lord. That was the Lord's servant. You understand? That was the Lord's servant. I count them my enemies. David said, I count them my enemies. Okay. And then we're going to go to the book of Rome. We're going to go to Romans chapter 9 and verse 13. Romans chapter 9, verse 13. All right. Romans chapter 9 and verse 13. As it is written. When it says as it is written in the Bible, that means the Old Testament. It's already written in the Old Testament. You understand? As it is written, it was already written. Jacob have I loved. This is the Lord. But Esau have I hated. Said Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. You understand? The Lord didn't love Esau. You understand? Okay. So the Lord hates, the Lord loves, the Lord kills and destroys, and the Lord makes alive again. And he said he hated Esau. Okay. Now let's go to let's see. Let me go to Psalms 83 and 1. The book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 1. It's going to be 1 through 3. Keep not thou silence, O Lord? Hold not thy peace. Verse 2. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. Verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. These people take a sneaky counsel. Crafty. I mean, crafty is sneaky, right? Against thy people, against the children of Israel. But it goes down. For they have consulted, I'm going to go down to verse 5. For they have, first of all, they have said, let me go to verse, 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel, you get this, the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. They want the name of Israel erased. They don't want the name of Israel to be remembered. They don't want, in other words, they don't want you to remember that your forefathers came out of Israel. Your forefathers came out of Jerusalem. Your forefathers is from ancient Palestine. The true children, right? For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. So these nations are getting together and they're confederate against the Lord's children. It says the tabernacles of Edom, right there. The tabernacles of Edom are confederate against you. Now we went over how they are our enemies, but not only did they get themselves against us, they got the other nations to be against us as well. Okay. It says the tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites. You know who Ishmael is? Ishmaelites is the sons of Ishmael, because it says ites at the end, right? That's your Arabs, the ones that practice Islam. So how in the hell are you going to practice Islam? But we as a people, we so gullible and dumb. You understand? Not dumb, but we so gullible and naive that we follow all these other nations, man. All their religions. That's their religions, okay? Of Moab. Moab is the Chinese folks. Hagarenes and Gebal, the Palestinians, the other people from Palestine, because the other ones are not us. The Philistines were African people. Amalek, that's the fake Jew. Ammon is the Japanese people. Philistines is the African people. Tyre, African people. Assyria, right? All the Assyrians as well. So all these people have come against us, man. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that. I'm going to go to John, the book of John, chapter 8 and verse 44. John 8 and verse 44. It says, ye are of your father the devil, and the lusts of your father ye will do. This is Christ speaking. And he still talks about sons and descendants of a father. So now he's saying, you are of your father the devil. All right. And the lust of your father you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, even in the times of Cain and Abel. Okay. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth. He doesn't tell the truth. Our oppressor, the Edomites, have kept a treaty with the native Indians. Never. They never kept one treaty. They wrote these treaties out, sat with the chiefs, and the chiefs of every tribe thought that they were telling the truth, that he was going to keep his end of the deal with that treaty, and he never kept not one treaty. And abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it, a murderer and the father of lies. Look at the treaties. Look at the sharecroppers. When our people were sharecroppers, they were making, they were going out and working this land, thinking that they're gonna get to own this land when they finish keeping the land and making sure that it's straight. No. They never was able to own that land. Ever. Just like in just like in Men of Honor. They don't keep in Men of Honor, that movie with Cuba Gooding Jr., his father was a sharecropper. And he said, it don't matter how much I work this land, I ain't never gonna own it. And that happened to so many of our people, man, because he's the father of lies. The truth is not in him. Okay. All right, and the end of that 45 says, and because I tell you the truth, you believe me not. Okay. So this is Christ saying this. Christ said your father was a murderer from the beginning, and the truth does not abode in him. Doesn't mean abode means to live in you. He don't got no truth that lives in him. And he's a liar. He speaketh of his own. He speak for his own people. He don't speak for you. You know, you got to hire a lawyer. So, and even then, the lawyer ain't going to be watching him too, because he ain't speaking to you either. So this is what Christ is saying. And he's also calling him a murderer. All right. All right. So now I'm going to drop that. Let me go to let's see what Genesis 27 and 40. The book of Genesis, chapter 27 and verse 40. Okay. This is when the backdrop on this is that Isaac was given the blessings out. He gave the birthright to Jacob. Jacob got blessed. You know, when he spoke him and tell him what was gonna be of him, what was gonna happen for him, how the Lord was gonna bless him. Jacob was crying because he sold his birthright. It says in verse 38, it says, and Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. He cried because he knew that he messed himself up by selling that birthright finally. Because the Lord Isaac had already given the blessing to Jacob. Okay, but you got to read how he got it. It was a little bit trickery with that because the mother put hair. She put like lamb's fur all over Jacob, so he could feel like Esau, his brother, because his brother was hairy. And so she knew her sons. The mother knows her sons. She knew that Jacob was going to take care of that birthright. So she tricked Isaac because Isaac got old and went blind. So he couldn't see his son. He didn't know which son it was. So he thought he was giving the blessing to Esau, the oldest, which he should have went to. But she knew that Esau didn't give a damn, but he proved it because he sold the birthright. Didn't he sell it to Jacob? Yes, he did, for that stew, that red pottage. That's why he's called Edom. That's why they called Esau Edom in the first place. All right. So I'm just giving y'all a little bit of backdrop, but you can go back and read the whole story of Jacob and Esau. Oh, my father, Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Isaac, his father, answered and said to him, Behold, your dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth. You're going to live in the best places of the earth. Where does our oppressor live at right now? In the best places of the earth. He even took us out of the Bahamas and came and lived in there himself. He lives in the best places in Europe that's all built up. All the best parts, not the ghetto. All right. Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above. And by the sword, by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass when thou hast the dominion that thou shalt break the yoke from off your neck. Because in the beginning, we was running Esau. But after a while, he gonna break that yoke off his neck, which he did already. And now he running us because the Lord turned it around because we sinned. We were the ones that didn't keep the law, statutes, and commandments like we were supposed to. We didn't take it seriously. I mean, not seriously, we just didn't do it, or whatever, be it as it may. But you see, he gonna live by the sword. Now you got to be a damn fool to think that you gonna beat the white man with the sword. Dumb. It just tells you in the Bible, it says, verse 40, and by the sword shalt thou live. So you telling me you can beat the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, the Space Force also? No, you can't do it. So being a Black Panther and all those black militia groups, man, you're gonna get a lot of people killed. We're supposed to be studying this. We're supposed to be following this. This is our Constitution. If we follow our Constitution, then the Lord gonna kill all our enemies. And he will eventually. Lord gonna kill all our enemies because we keep the Passover. We keep the Feast of Unleavened Bread. We keep Hanukkah. We keep the Sabbath. We don't eat that. We keep Levitical law. We don't eat shrimp, crab, and lobster. You understand? We don't do that. Okay? So this is what the Lord gave. This is what the blessing came to Jacob. So that's how you know Jacob has the power of the sword, and he'll kill you with it. Look at all the gun shows they go to. The gun shows, and look how many guns they buy. I went to a gun show and I saw the guy reeling out like a little red wagon full of bullets. I mean, stockpile with guns, bullets, and everything else, and militia tactical gear at a gun show. And I couldn't even buy a goddamn Salaki. I couldn't even buy a crossbow pistol, which ain't nothing but a crossbow. It ain't no gun, got no bullets in it. Oh, what's your background? Give me hell. But he wheeling out a big red wagon full of stuff. And it wasn't just him by himself either. All right. So the power of the sword was given to Esau. That's the point I'm really making here. Now, that's Esau in the Bible. So let's look at this. Let's go to let me see. Psalms 14 and verse 1. Psalms 14 and verse 1. Oh, Salah. No, not Salah. Let's go to Job, the book of Job. That's the one I want to bring out. The book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24. Job chapter 9 and verse 24. Okay. It reads, The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges. So it's telling you right there, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. When the Bible says the earth, that means everybody. Okay. When he says the earth, he means everybody when it says that. Okay. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Who runs the earth now? Our oppressor, Edom, Esau. So this earth is given to the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. He covers the faces of the judges thereof. He covered the faces with white paint. He made Jesus, the so-called Jesus Christ, the so-called Jesus Christ, he made him white. He covered the faces of Christ because Christ is originally a very dark-skinned brother. And I'm going to prove that to you. Let's go to the book of Revelation. Revelation chapter 13 and verse 1. Or should I say verse 9? No, Salaki, Revelation verse 1 and 13. Well, I don't know why. Maybe I'm getting dyslexic these days. Okay, Revelation chapter 1 and verse 13. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, just like I was talking about this menorah, is the 7 churches, the candlesticks that are put inside this menorah. And in the midst of the 7 churches, though, it says candlesticks here. That means because this symbolizes the 7 churches. The menorah symbolizes the 7 churches. And in the midst of the 7 golden candlesticks, Salaki, I saw 7 candles. Wait, Salaki. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment from the foot and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. All right. The Son of Man is Christ. Girt about the paps. Your paps is, the paps is your waist. Your paps are your waist. So he had a golden girdle. This is Christ. They had a golden girdle around his waist, a war belt, so that, in a warrior's outfit, and you'll see us wear it, especially Passover coming up, we're going to have our garments on, and we're going to have our war belts, which that's that golden girdle that Christ had. You understand? Everything the ISUPK does is biblical. Everything we do is biblical. Okay? When it comes to worshiping the Most High God. All right? So it says, clothed in a garment down to the foot and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. Verse 14, his head and his hairs were white like wool. Who got woolly hair? The texture of woolly hair. It's sure, I'm going to give you one hint, it sure ain't Esau. That's right. Because believe it or not, I used to have an afro. And I used to use a pick to pick my afro. All right. And it was woolly. Okay. We got them naps, like they say, which we shouldn't be ashamed of, because that's our hair. That's our real hair. This is my real hair. It's woolly. All right. Damn near white now. All right. This is Christ. Christ was a black man. You understand? His hairs were white like wool, as white as snow. His eyes were as a flame of fire. Christ was accused of being a wine bibber, which means he loved wine. He liked his drink. He'll drink him some wine. And Christ also said he ain't going to take one drink until he sit with his brothers again, with his people. Christ ain't taking one piece of wine until he come back here. That's just like a brother too. I ain't drinking till I get around the homies, man. Forget that. I ain't drinking till I get back over there with my peoples, man. Right now, not right now. All right. That's a brother. All right. So his eyes were a flame of fire. They were red. And his verse 15. Now take notice also, beside the woolly hair, which is obvious, and his feet like unto fine brass. Now, brass. What's the color of brass? It's right here. This is brass. Brass is a derivative of brown. His feet like unto fine brass, as if they were burnt in a furnace. So they were derivative of brown, but it's also as if they were burnt in a furnace. So Christ was a very dark-skinned brother. This is the derivative of brown, as if burnt in a furnace, as if he was really brown. He was very dark-skinned, as if they burnt in his furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. Okay, that's Christ. Now, let's go to Revelation. Let me see. Is it 2:9? No, I'm going to Revelation 13:9. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 13 and 9, and I'm going to close on this. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He, verse 10, he that leadeth into captivity, captivity means slavery. Okay? He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Our oppressors led us into slavery. He's going to, Salaki, our oppressor is going to go into slavery because he led us into slavery. Okay? He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. All right. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.